There are actually certain advantages to knowing that you have a limited lifespan left. When you're told, well, it's going to be measured in months rather than years, it gives you an opportunity to make arrangements for things like the collection.
Bob Connors began collecting rare books about 5 years ago. He acquired some 400 volumes, many from the earliest days of books.
Let's start with this one, okay?
And then, just 6 months before we met Bob, he learned he had incurable cancer.
This book is my favorite book. It's the oldest book.
This edition of St. Augustine's Confessions was printed in 1475, only about 20 years after the Gutenberg Bible.
But there's also these illuminations. After it was printed, they came back in and added these.
Soon after he learned he had cancer, Bob decided to offer the collection to the University of Chicago because he credits the university with inspiring his collecting.
When I retired, I told myself I was going to do two things. I was going to travel and study.
That was 10 years earlier when Bob was 60. The travel took Bob and his wife and daughters around the world. He studied in what the University of Chicago calls its basic program, in-depth classes in the great books of Western civilization. And as Bob dove into the ideas, he became especially fascinated by the books themselves.
Books are an opening to an intellectual and magical world. All these great stories and great ideas are embodied in these books.
Bob bought rare editions of the books he was studying in the basic program. He started with the Victorian-era writer Thomas Hardy and collected nearly all of Hardy's works. As his studies moved back in time, it was the oldest books that captivated him because of the way they made knowledge more accessible.
Before that, you had to be in a monastery or in a library and to get access to these texts. And that's why I'm so happy that they found a really good home.
Elizabeth Frangel is the curator of rare books at the University of Chicago Library.
This collection is very remarkable for its collection of books that represent the history of early printing. And we call those incunabula, and it comes from the Latin word meaning from the cradle.
Incunabula are books printed before 1501.
His collection includes 12 incunable titles, and that increased our holdings here at the University of Chicago Library significantly.
Bob's collection has been appraised at nearly $500,000. But Elizabeth Frangel says it takes more than money to assemble this significant a collection in just 5 years. She says Bob has become extremely knowledgeable about book history.
Another value of these old books, by the way, okay? Notice these little scribblings in the margins.
What are those?
Scribblings, but they're...
You mean by readers?
Yes, but scholars will come in just to read the marginalia. Mm-hmm. They want to know how scholars back then interpreted these books.
Despite the monetary value of the collection, Bob says he preferred to donate it as a whole rather than sell it off in pieces.
I mean, one of the things, again, about knowing you have a limited time left, one of the other things you have to think about is legacy. What mark have I left in the world? What will live beyond me? And this collection will. This is a very important part of my legacy that I'm very proud of, frankly. These books, which have survived, in some cases, 500 years, they'll be around for another 500 years. And scholars will still want to come in and look at the actual books.